Hello and welcome back to Boo Church. Here's my first video about my experience with God. The first time I saw God. This was ninth grade. Let me set up the story before I get into it. I was in a foster home, been in a few of those. This was actually the first one, and it was ninth grade. And just before this happened, not 2 or 3 weeks before then, I very specifically remember having a cigarette one day after school, and I was thinking to myself, having been raised by a religious mother, God rest her soul, took me to church every Sunday, and my understanding, at least at the time, was regardless of what you think of what I'm about to say, this is how I saw it. And that was either you believed in God and you went to heaven, or you didn't believe in God and you went to hell. So I'm sitting there contemplating that, thinking, well, God, how if you love these people, just because they don't buy into this book, you would really send them to hell for eternal damnation? I mean, this is over 2,000 years old. I mean, if God really wanted to save us, wouldn't he appear in the sky at least once every 100 years or something and say, I am God, booming voice that the whole world could hear and understand? Follow me, follow the Bible, and I'll welcome you into heaven. Then if you choose not to, well then surely you deserve to burn in an eternal lake of fire forever. Okay, that's what was going through my head. Why doesn't God show himself to us more? Then, this is what happened. I'm at this foster home, and they had this daughter, and her and I kind of got a little thing going on, where she would sneak into my room in the middle of the night for a little kissy, huggy stuff, and go back to her room while her parents were asleep downstairs. And she was a virgin, never let it go any further than that. I could live with that. Prettiest girl I'd ever kissed, so okay. Well, then one Saturday, her parents and her younger daughter all took off to this other town to go grocery shopping, leaving me and her alone. And it didn't take but 5 minutes. I had her upstairs in my bedroom. The petting got heavy. She whispered in my ear, why not? Wham, her pants came down, my sweatpants came down, and I was literally this far from consummating our relationship, not wearing a condom, could have very easily gotten her pregnant, but nonetheless, ready to go at it, and the phone rang. She froze. Her whole body just tensed up. She goes, it could be my parents. Go answer the phone. And I'm like, no, and I'm pursuing her. She's, no, it could be my parents. Go answer the phone. I got out of bed, put my sweatpants back on, ran downstairs to answer that blankety blank phone, picked it up. Hello. A little angrier than I should have in case it was her parents, but it wasn't. It was my friend Bob Riddle that I had known. Hadn't spoken to him in probably 6 months when I'd been back at my mom's house. Gave him my phone number of the place I was staying at, and of all the times to call, he picks right then. Bob, I gotta go. Busy. Click, hang up the phone, go back upstairs. By now, this girl's dressed, back in her bedroom, brushing her hair, all dressed up. Calm down. I'm like, come on, let's go back. She's, no, that was a close one. Whew, thank God that didn't happen. Yeah. Anyway, she ordered me out of her bedroom, and I went. This is how my brain was working. I go downstairs, I go outside to the backyard, which is above the mill pond, and I went out there, and I went through the 7 or 8 stages of grief or whatever they described, not even knowing what it was at the time. Everything from denial to anger to bargaining, all of those things as I'm down there yelling at God, literally. And it was not a nice talk either. I was not being nice. It was GD this, JC that. Come on, God, you bunch of things I won't say here. I let loose. And, well, I never got that moment back. But here's the thing. I saw God in that interrupting phone call. Totally. That's just, boy, as if answering the question I'd had a few weeks earlier about why doesn't God show himself more. Boy, he showed himself to me that day. And To make a long story short, a couple weeks later, she told her parents about us. Parents got mad, kicked me out of the foster home. A couple weeks later, I was gone. Bye-bye. And looking back on that then, and still to this day, I totally believe it was God calling to stop that. I could have gotten her pregnant. Certainly would have had a more involved relationship with her had that we went through with that tryst. I totally saw God in what had happened then. So, you may not, and most people would hear this story and just go, oh, come on, that's not seeing God. That's just an awkward phone call at a bad time. I saw God in it then. I see God in it now. And I will explain more as I go along why that was definitely an intervention. And let me just say, as I'm down there yelling at God, carrying on, I know God was there watching me. And I have come to believe God got the biggest kick out of it. Because here was this juvenile, delinquent, wayward kid with all these problems who had just been interrupted from having sex, so I got the hormones going and raging. And what was I doing? I was down there yelling at God for screwing up my good time, which he did. But God looked at that and he said, that kid sees me. Right on. So I'll touch more back on this later as I go through more of my stories. And believe me, they all get better from here. That was the weakest intervention, but one that I saw for certain. Okay, come back for the next video. And the next one is The Crazy Bird, right after I graduated high school. Can't wait to tell you about that, but I got to keep these videos short. So, okay, it's coming up. Thank you for being here.